my dears, it's Katie, and I'm here today to do another one of my Sea of Chaos tag videos. I'm going to be doing another 3 tags today, and the theme is really just kind of like random. I'm going to be doing the 6th musical book tag, which was created by Cara from Wilde Book Garden and Hannah from Snow White Reader. And then I'm going to be doing the super random book tag, which was created by Head Over Books. And finally, I'm going to be doing the Birthstone Book Tag, which was created by JG. I'm really excited to do all of these. Some of the questions are really difficult to answer, but I'm going to try anyway. So, the first one that I'm doing is the 6th musical book tag, and I was tagged by Cara to do this. And I'm really excited to jump in, but for those of you who don't know what 6 is a musical all about Henry VIII's wives, and it is wonderful. And if you haven't listened to the soundtrack yet, go to Spotify and do it because it's super good. So, 1. Ex-Wives, a female-centered retelling or reimagining. If you don't read a lot of retellings, it could also be nonfiction, historical fiction, etc. And for this one, I am picking, surprisingly enough, Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. That book is a feministic retelling of St. George and the Dragon, as well as kind of Arthurian legend. It's super good, and if you haven't read it yet, or it isn't on your radar, I'd highly recommend picking it up. It's insanely good, and the world building is incredible, and as I said, it's hella feministic. It pulls on things from like 12 different cultures. It's unbelievable, and I love all of the characters so much. Would highly recommend. 2. No Way, a character with strong convictions whom you admire. Now, I wasn't sure if this could be a male or female character, but I'm pretty sure that because this is about 6, that it should be a female character. The character who fits this description is Circe from Circe by Madeline Miller. I really love Circe. She's got such incredible resolve. She's been through so much, and she's still able to pick herself up and move on with her life. She's just such a wonderful character, and that is a very character-centric book. It is told from the perspective of Circe. It's all about her life. So because we get to see all of that, we really get to see her struggles and all of the things that she's gone through and where she gets to be by the end of the book. And so well done, and if you haven't read it already, I'd highly recommend it. 3. Don't Lose Your Head, a character who makes terrible choices, but you can't help loving them or sympathizing with them. Any character from the Realm of the Elderling series. Yeah, literally, no joke. Okay, so female character from the Realm of the Elderling series who makes terrible life choices, but I can't help but loving anyway, is the Vestrit family. Both Althea and Malta in particular, they make terrible life choices that have very severe consequences, and yet I adore them with my whole soul. And I love watching their growth throughout the Live Ship Traders trilogy. It's just really well done. Malta in particular is the biggest problem child of the lot. But I ended up really loving her despite all of her terrible choices anyway. 4. Heart of Stone, a non-canon OTP or a canon one that didn't get enough page time. If you don't read books with romance, choose a character that didn't get enough page time. Well, I have a lot of answers for this question, but most of my ships or non-canon ships are male. But I also, and like a lot of the characters that I love that should have gotten more attention and more love are also male. So I'm bending this question, and I'm going to say Harry and Cedric from Harry Potter is my non-canon OTP that didn't get enough page time. There could have been so much more to them and their friendship from Goblet of Fire, and it was just every interaction between them was just pure gold, and I lived for their interactions. I love them so much. But as for a character who I felt didn't get enough page time, Anubis from the Kane Chronicles. I love that boy. I love that boy so much, and I just wanted him to be on the page all the time, and he was hardly on the page, and I was really irritated about it. My heart of stone. They say we're perfect, a perfect family, and for the world to see. But I know. 5. House of Holbein, a female authored work you read in translation. This is the one that has given me the most trouble of everything, because I don't think I've read any or very few female authored works that are in translation. I've read a lot of male translated works, but I don't know if I've read any female, unless they've been under a pseudonym or a pen name or something. So I don't know if I have an answer for this question, unless I were to bend it and make it a male author that I read in translation. Then it would be like any of the classics. So like The Metamorphosis and Jason and the Argonauts, and literally any Greek retelling or Roman retelling, the Aeneid, the Iliad, the Odyssey. All of those I've read in translation, but they were translated by males. I think there's finally been a female translated version of the Odyssey, but I haven't read it yet. So, I don't know. I'm sorry. I fail. 6. Get down. A character you'd like to get down with. Interpret how you will. Date, be friends with, party with, etc. Let me think about that. I don't know. Part of me really wants to party with Safi and Isolde. Like, I have a feeling that would be really, really fun. From the Witchland series, by the way. But I love their friendship, and I have a feeling they would be so much fun to party with. Like, and also bring the boys too. Bring in Edwin and everybody. Just bring them all. I would love to be part of that party. 7. All You Want to Do. A book that would have been much better without the romance or female character you feel was unfairly defined by her romantic relationships. And for this, I'm picking Irene from the Invisible Library series book thing. I read this book fairly recently, and I hated it. I hated it for so many reasons, but one in particular was her and her apprentice fellow. Don't remember his name. It doesn't matter. They, like, when they knew each other after like a day, all of a sudden he just like, hey, are we just gonna like share this bed to sleep? And I'm just like, you were in the middle of having a serious conversation, and all of a sudden it just changes there. And I'm like, you are obviously the main love interest. Why do I care? And it just felt like a lot of the book was surrounded that, because like he was super possessive and super protective of her, and like she was just always the dumb damsel in distress despite her being his superior. And I'm just like, this is super uncomfortable and cringy and like unnecessary. Please make it stop. The book would have been slightly better, not much, but slightly better without any of that stuff. It was just 100% unnecessary, and I hated it. Like, Irene was an annoying character as it was, but like totally unnecessary to have the romance there. Just, I didn't care about it. But maybe I would have cared a little bit more about Irene as a character and as a person if her apprentice / love interest was there all the time. Yeah, I had a frustrating time with that book. 8. I Don't Need Your Love. Share a seriously underrated female author. Ooh, that's a good one. Elizabeth Kostova. I love her books, but I don't know anyone who has ever read one of her books. Actually, that's a lie. I know one person who's read The Historian, but like, she has a bunch of books out, I think 3 now, and no one ever talks about them, and they're really, really good books. And I want more people to read her and read her books, because they are really well done. She mostly writes historical fiction. The Historian is a retelling of Dracula with more of the historical elements rather than the actual myth and the folk tale and everything behind it. I mean, that is pulled into it's wild. She intertwines everything together, and it's multi-timeline, and I have a feeling a lot of people would be put off because of the multi-timeline thing, but like, please don't. It is so good. It's so well done, so interesting, and it goes in a direction that you don't expect it to go into, but like, seriously, it's so good. Read it. Read her. Um, she needs more love in this world. And finally, 6. Tell us about one of your favorite bookish girl squads or female friendships. Friend, have I talked to you about Red, White, and Royal Blue yet? No? Well, let me talk to you about Nora and June. Their friendship is so good. Their relationship, because it's heavily hinted at that they like each other, but like, oh my god, it's just the friendships in that book are wonderful. Like, just, there are 6 of them, so I mean, like, they are the 6. Like, it's super good. Would 100% recommend, like, read that book if you haven't yet. It's so good, so cute. It deals with a lot of topics that you wouldn't necessarily expect to see in a romantic work, but like, please go read it. It's so good, and the friendships are really, really what make it. It's incredible. Now it's time to move on to the super random tag, and Cara also tagged me in this one. This is a really interesting tag, and I really love the questions, so here we go. 1, color crazy. Pick a color that matches your emotion when you're reading your favorite book. Well, it depends on which favorite book I'm reading, but usually I get a feeling of like a sea green. I just find the sea to be so calming. So generally, like, sea colors are feelings that I feel when I am reading my favorite book. But also, like, as I said, depending on the book and depending on the time of year I am reading my favorite book will also depend on the color. So like, let's say I'm reading The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit or any Tolkien work in the winter, then I feel like oranges and reds because it just makes me feel super warm and cozy. But let's say I'm reading The Realm of the Elderlings in the fall, then I'll feel more of a royal blue or a forest green color. And I love that feeling. Harry Potter, if I'm reading that in the summer, which I usually do if I'm rereading it, I feel, I don't know, multiple colors. So it depends on the book I'm reading and maybe the time of year that I'm reading, but like seafoam green is like a general feeling of comfort and calm. So for sure, that one. 2, favorite movie. Pick the best book to movie adaptation. I thought they did a really, really wonderful job with the Lord of the Rings movies. I mean, is it perfect? No, but it is definitely one of my favorite book to movie adaptations out there. So, cheers. 3, favorite song at the moment. Say your favorite song at the moment and pick a book that you feel is the same as your favorite song. Well, my favorite song of all time is Divenire by Ludovico Einaudi. I associate it with literally everything in my life, like, no joke, literally everything. But in terms of the favorite song that I can associate with a book, it is Night, also by Ludovico Einaudi, and it fits perfectly. And I'm not even remotely joking about this, but it fits perfectly with the Winter Night trilogy by Catherine Arden. If you have read that trilogy, or if you are planning on reading that trilogy, definitely listen to that song at some point because it encapsulates all of the feelings of winter and magic and everything that is with that book. Like, it is so good. I love it. I love it so much. I listened to it during a lot during this last winter, during like the polar vortex, which is right around the time I was finishing up the trilogy, and I was just like, holy shit, this actually really fits really well with this book and this series. And from that point on, I just associated it with that. Even though it's supposed to be with night, it has a snowy feel to it. And I love it so much. Yes. Okay, moving on. 4, book slump. Name a book that put you in a reading slump. Well, I hate to say reading slump, but I get a lot of book hangovers and then I don't want to read. So, that. But one book that definitely did that to me for several months was Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. I finished that book at the end of August of last year. It was August 30th. It was a Thursday in around like 11:30 at night, something like that. Finished that book, cried for like an hour, and then I knew I was going to have an issue after. So I was like, okay, I just won't read anything for a little while after. And I didn't end up picking up anything until mid-September, but then I didn't really I wasn't fully ready to be back in the reading world. So nothing was able to capture me again until October or almost November of last year. I just had a really hard time dealing with all of my feelings after I finished that book. And yeah, I loved it so much, but the ending really had me. So that one definitely is one you could say that's put me into a slump, but it really wasn't a slump. It was just a super drastic book hangover. 5, book shopping. Name a book that you spent way too much money on. Oh, I don't know. I get a lot of books as gifts. And I don't remember the last book that was super special that I bought myself. The last book that I received as a gift that I know is pretty hefty in price is the Assassin's Apprentice Illustrated Edition that's coming out on October 1st. I'm pretty sure that book is somewhere in the $30 range. But yeah, I tend to not buy a lot of special edition books unless it's for a book that is very, very dear to me. So yeah, I mean, I didn't buy it myself, but I know it's heavy in price. So probably that one, but does it count because I didn't get it myself? I don't know. 6, empty pockets. Name a book that you really want, but you don't have the money to pay for. Yeah. There is this special edition of Tolkien's maps and art of Middle-earth, and it was insanely expensive. No one in their right mind should buy a book for that price. It was, but because it's so there are so few of them, it's expensive. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and put it up here, but I'm actually uncomfortable to say the price of what they were asking for on camera because it was astronomical. But I really want it, but there's no way in hell I'll ever be able to buy it for myself. 7, The Golden Trio. Name a group of friends besides Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley. Well, as I said earlier in this video, I loved the friendship between everybody, between the 6 in Red, White, and Royal Blue. Just loved that friendship so incredibly much. They're such a fun group. They're so funny and unique and just lovely. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. So yes, definitely that crew. 7, memories. Name your top 3 favorite books. Oh dear. Okay. Actual standalone books would probably be The Hobbit, Red, White, and Royal Blue, and Fool's Quest. I don't know. I'm terrible at picking standalone books, but for series, Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, and The Realm of the Elderlings. Yeah, that's what we're going with. but for like books, it's like for sure The Hobbit and Red, White, and Royal Blue. And I'd probably say Fool's Quest is my favorite from all of ROTE, but it's hard to isolate any of the books. So I don't know what my third would be, but yeah, for series, as I said, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Realm of the Elderlings. 9. Never-ending TBR. Name a book that you still want to add to your never-ending TBR. Well, that's a lot of books. I have this weird system where it's like I have all of these books on my TBR, but then I also like had a list of books that used to be on my TBR that I removed because I just didn't have, they weren't something that I was like super dire wanting to read kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know what was the last thing I added Dewdrop by Katie O'Neill. It might be, which is one of Katie O'Neill's graphic novels. And yeah, but I don't know if there's anything like I haven't added yet that I want to add because I usually just add it right away. 10. Oops, name a book that is popular you haven't read yet. My entire TBR. Literally no joke. I haven't read many of Brandon Sanderson's works. I also haven't read Thurston White. So yeah, those are probably the top 2 that I can think of right now. But like literally my entire TBR is that. Oh, another one is The Nevernight Chronicle by Jay Kristoff. Haven't read those yet, but I'm planning on getting to those very, very soon. 11. Rainbow. Name a book that gives you all the feels. Do I need to say it? Okay, I'll say it. The Realm of the Elderlings. All of them. Period. The end. Goodbye. Okay, cheers. 12. Movie night. Name a book to movie series or book to movie adaptation that you've binge watched. The Lord of the Rings. I've binge watched Harry Potter. Those 2 are the ones that I watch regularly over and over again, back to back to back. It's just so much fun, and it's just so nice, especially in the fall. Well, at least for Harry Potter. Harry Potter I always have to rewatch in the fall, and then The Lord of the Rings I tend to like to watch in like the spring or the summer. It's just so much fun to watch them all back to back to back. I am that nerd. 13. Sweet but sour. Name a book that is sweet but sour in some way. The Winter Night Trilogy by Catherine Arden. Like, the ending is very bittersweet in a lot of ways. There's a lot of stuff that happened that really changed relationships and dynamics and things, but then there's a lot of good things at the end as well. So I'll probably say that. And finally, 14. OMG, no spoilers, please. Name a book that you've been spoiled for. I spoil myself for a lot of books. So, I mean, all of them. But one in particular that I was spoiled for that I didn't want to be spoiled for, the Hunger Games trilogy. I knew the ending before I even got to it because everyone and their mother was talking about it around me. So I guess that one is one of the ones that fits. The last tag I'm doing is the Birthstone Book Tag, and I wasn't tagged by anybody. I just thought the questions were fun. So, January, Garnet. Associated with warding off negative forces and dark engines. Name a book with the darkest, evilest character you can think of. The Silmarillion. Morgoth. Fight me. Like, he is the evil of all evils. Seriously, not even remotely joking about that. February, Amethyst. Purple is associated with royalty. Name a book with regal qualities. You can base this off of characters or choose the king of all books. And for this, I'm going to pick The King Chronicles by Rick Riordan. This book has a lot of discussion about pharaohs and gods and things of that sort. So there are a lot of themes surrounding that, and the main 2 characters are descendants of specific pharaoh lines. So there's a lot of royalty discussion in those books. March, Aquamarine, Washed Out. Name a wishy-washy character, a character who is not strong or a follower. Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. Yes. There we go. I have said my salty tea. April, Diamond, A Diamond in the Rough. Name a book that you love but is not well known. The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. Please read that book. It's the perfect time of year for it too. Like October, November, perfect time for that book. Definitely read it. May, Emerald, my birthstone, by the way. Said to balance energy. Name 2 characters who balance each other well. Safi and Isolde from the Witchland series. They're just platonic soulmates, and I love them so much. June, Pearl, associated with loyalty. Name a character who is loyal to the end. Fitz Chivalry Farseer from the Realm of the Elderlings. Oh, that poor boy. So many emotions. I get so many emotions. So many emotions about my poor boy. July, Ruby, Blood Red. Name a book that made your blood boil, one that made you angry. The Fellowship of Fear. Don't even remember the author's name. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I was seething while reading that book. August, Peridot, or is it Peridot? I don't actually know. Pale Green. It pales in comparison to other gems. Name a supporting character who you like better than the main character. Anubis from the King Chronicles. Love that boy so much. He's good. He's very good. And we needed so much more of him. But also Neville from Harry Potter. I don't necessarily like him more than Harry, but like he deserved more love in the books. So yes. September, Sapphire, Blue Like the Ocean, which is calming. Name a book that had a calming effect on you. The Winter Night Trilogy by Catherine Arden. Just the whole atmosphere of the book made me feel so calm and relaxed. October, April, Iridescent. Name an iridescent book that can be a book with a beautiful cover, shiny, lots of color, or you can base it off of a character, quirky or colorful. Well, I absolutely adore the Assassin's Fate cover. It is arguably my favorite cover of all of covers. So I definitely love that one. But for one with a quirky, funny, amusing character, Luna Lovegood is great. But also, I really like Aralok, who is an Ichneumon, and he is from the Priory of the Orange Tree. Just, there's so many great characters in that book. Like, seriously, so good. 11, November, Topaz, associated with resilience. Name books with character who rises to the top in a time of adversity. Technically, you could say my boy Alex Claremont Diaz from Red, White, and Royal Blue is in the middle of election season. His mom is rerunning for president, and a lot is going on in his life, and a lot is going on in the country, and he's a good boy, and he is on the top of the world by the end of that book, and I love it so much. And 12, December, Blue Zircon, associated with friendship. Name a book with a friendship you want to be a part of. The Lord of the Rings, like the entire Fellowship. Like, please let me be part of that. I want in right now. Yes. Cheers. So, those are all the questions, and those are all the tags that I'm doing today. I'm not going to tag anyone, but if you're watching and you haven't done any of these and you want to, say I tagged you, leave a link down below, and I will come and watch. But other than that, you guys know the drill. I have both of my social media links down below in the description. I have my Twitter, which is @NaseeofTomes, which is the same as my handle here. And I also have my Goodreads, which you guys can go and follow me and see what I'm reading, track my progress, see my general superficial thoughts on things before I come and scream at you about them over here. And I also have my Ships and Fandoms page linked down below if you guys are interested. But other than that, I'll catch you later in another video for you guys again soon. Bye!